Can you believe I've only ever owned one G-Shock before? And we're going to have a look at it today. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Vintage Warlock channel. I hope that you are all safe and well. And today we're going to be having a look at a G-Shock, but not just any G-Shock. We're going to have a look at the original DW5600 series and the version that I got, which is a classic design but with a modern twist. Before we jump into the review, I'm going to do a quick history lesson and talk to you a little bit more about this G-Shock series. Don't worry, it's not War and Peace today. I'm just going to go into just the basics of this watch. So first of all, G-Shock was born from the single belief that there could be one watch that just would not break. And that was developed through over 200 prototypes of performance testing over a 2-year period. And then finally, they were able to introduce the G-Shock series. Now, once all of that stuff had been completed, it was over a 4-year period that the G-Shock DW5600 was first introduced, which was back in 1987. So you can have a think about how long this watch brand has been going and how long this series of the G-Shock has been going for. And yes, over time it's adapted. I'm going to see if I can throw up an infographic from the G-Shock website so that you can see, but you can see that it's always retained its traditional square face design, and that is a real plus point with this watch. And there's not many designs from the 80s that you would continually say is a design classic and is still well sought after and well regarded as a good watch to have on your wrist. Along with slight changes to the design of the watch, you've also got differences in technology as time has gone on. So not only have the colours changed, but what you get for the watch has also changed as well. You've got the most basic model, which is also the cheapest, which is the one that I have on my wrist today. But you've also got some of the more expensive versions that have Bluetooth or multiband 6, and you've even got solar powered watches as well within this G-Shock range. You've got resin bands, you've also got the full metal jacket versions of the G-Shock. There's just so many different options to choose from. So I'm not going to tell you the best place to look for this watch because you can literally find them anywhere. You can find them on Amazon, you can find them on eBay, you can find them from high street retailers as well, all for around about the same price. I managed to pick this version up, which is the DW5610SU, which is the military grey and black dial version with a negative display, for just under £69. You can find other versions for cheaper than that. You can find the more advanced versions for over £100, but each of them are very cheap in terms of price and what you're getting for your money, and they're also, you know, they're G-Shocks, they're long lasting. If you are interested from where I bought mine from, it was from a online retailer called Lloyds Jewellers, which are also a UK shop as well. I'll leave a link in the description below to them on eBay. This watch itself, in terms of dimensions, it has a diameter of 43.8 millimeters. It has a lug to lug width of 48.9 millimeters and a height of 13.5 millimeters. Obviously, it's an integrated resin band. They are quick release as well. I'm not sure what the actual lug widths underneath that would be. If you know, please leave that in the comments below. The weight of this watch, being all resin, is very light. It is 52 grams. The watch is obviously shock resistance. The battery life is 2 years because this one isn't a solar powered watch. It is just a normal quartz battery powered watch, and the water resistance rating is 200 meters of water resistance. And all of that aside, covering the dial you have a mineral crystal, which is recessed into the resin band, so again it is very hardy. Other features on this watch is as you would expect. You have a stopwatch, you've got a timer, you've got an alarm which is hourly time signals, you've got a flash alert feature as well on this watch. really good luminescent backlight. 2, you've got an auto calendar up to the year of 2099. If anyone is still alive around that point, you know, good on you if your watch has lasted that long. Other features is you can have a 12 to 24 hour format, regular timekeeping as well, which goes right down from seconds right up to day and month as well. I prefer the 24-hour format. That's just because of military training that I went through in the past. However, many people still like to have it in the 12-hour format instead. I think it's, you know, chalk and cheese, whichever one you prefer really. Finally, this watch has an accuracy of plus to minus 15 seconds per month, and as you can see, it sits so well on my 7.5-inch wrist. Yes, you would see a diameter of almost 44 millimeters and a lug to lug of almost 50 millimeters, as making this watch, you know, almost unwearable. But the fact that it's resin design, it's incredibly light, and it's also integrated too, means that this watch just sits so well on most big wrists, and in fact not just big wrists but most average size wrists as well. If you do have smaller wrists and you're looking for a G-Shock, you can also have a look at what they would call the women's range as well, which is slightly scaled down. I don't really think it should really be called a woman's or a ladies. I just think it should be called the smaller size version of it, because that will also fit on many of the smaller wrists too. Some people aren't a big fan of this, but I am actually a big fan of the negative display on this watch. I do find it clear and legible. Yes, it may not be as clear and as legible as the traditional non-negative displays, but I can still read and understand it very well. I've taken this watch abroad with me. This was one of my holiday watches that I took to Greece this year, and in 40-degree heat with glaring sun, I could still make out the time really well. And similarly, back in the UK now, where it's starting to get a little bit cooler and it's starting to get a little bit more overcast, I can still read the design really well. And I actually think because of the negative display, it sort of sets it aside from a lot of the other Casios within my collection. Now, as I said before, I am really interested in Casios in general. I'm a big fan of Casio, and I still can't quite believe that this is the only G-Shock that I've ever owned, and probably will own for the next few weeks in my collection. But I think that will change, because I've said weeks, not months, because I am actively looking and I am interested in other G-Shocks, not just the same square designs, but some of the others, such as the Casio and some of the other G-Shocks. But I'm also interested in the technology as well. I'm interested in having a look at some of the solar offerings from G-Shock and from Casio, and I'm also interested in some of the Bluetooth features as well, the type of watches that you can get, such as the Edifice or the Oceanus, as well as the G-Shock series. But guys, if you have any suggestions for G-Shock, please leave that in the comments below. But overall, this watch to me is an absolute design classic. It works really well on most wrists, and it continues to be an absolute classic from the Casio G-Shock range. But guys, what do you think of this G-Shock? Is this your favorite one in the G-Shock range? Are there others that are your favorite? Please let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, please consider liking, sharing and subscribing to this channel. I try and post at least one video a week at the moment. If I can, if I'm feeling lucky, I will sometimes get 2 out, but I do have a lot of other stuff that I do in the background as well. I've also got links to my Amazon and eBay stores. Again, links in the description there below. I have G-Shocks as well as some other watches which I've singled out as being pretty good value for money, so please have a look at that. We've got Christmas coming up, and we've got other Black Friday and other sales coming up as well, so please have a look at the links below. But guys, take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in a future video.